Now, last time, before the summer, we had lots of stories about my naughty little sister. I might read one of those this week. But do you know about another little boy who was very, very naughty? And his name begins with a Horrid Henry. And this one is called Don't Be Horrid, Henry. And this is a story about when Henry's little brother was born. Do you know Horrid Henry's brother's name? Peter. Henry was a horrid baby. He screamed in the morning. He screamed in the evening. At night he never slept. He put breakfast on his head, his lunch on the floor, his dinner on the walls, and his nappies. Oh, what a stink. Then Peter was born. Peter was a perfect baby. He smiled all day and slept all night. His nappies were never dirty. Well, almost never. Henry was not very happy when Peter arrived. In fact, he was furious. "I've had just about enough of this baby," he said to Mum. "Coochie," said Mum. "Time to take that baby back to the hospital," he said to Dad. "Who's my little plimpickin?" said Dad. Henry glared at Peter. "This house isn't big enough for both of us," he thought. Horrid Henry tried posting Peter. He tried dumping Peter. He tried losing Peter. He tried letting the wind blow him away. Perhaps he'll leave, thought Henry hopefully. Unfortunately, Peter didn't leave. He just grew bigger and bigger. He was sitting in Henry's chair, playing with Henry's toys, swinging on Henry's swing, and being a total nuisance. "Mum, Peter's kicking me!" screamed Henry. "Don't be a telltale, Henry." "Dad, Peter's bashing my teddy." "He's only little, Henry." "Mum, Henry's hitting me," said Peter. "Don't be horrid, Henry." "Dad, Henry's knocking down my Lego." "Don't be horrid, Henry." "Why doesn't Peter ever get into trouble?" muttered Henry. Then Horrid Henry had a wonderfully wicked idea. "Peter," said Henry sweetly, "would you like to dig a hole to China?" "Oh, yes," said Peter. Henry pointed to Mum's newly dug flower bed. "Dig here," he said. "It's easier." Peter started digging, and soon there was a lovely big hole. "That's great work, Peter," said Henry. "Why not show Mum?" Peter toddled off. Thought Horrid Henry. Mum came outside. "Oh!" she screamed. "Henry, how dare you dig up my flower bed?" "I didn't do it," said Henry. "Peter did." "Don't be horrid, Henry," shouted Mum. "Go to your room." "It's not fair," wailed Henry. Next day, he tried again. "Let's surprise Mum and draw her a beautiful picture," said Henry. "How about a Viking ship?" "Oh, yeah," said Peter. "We need a huge space," said Henry. "I know. Let's draw on the wall. On the wall, said Peter. We couldn't fit a whole Viking ship on a tiny piece of paper, said Henry, and just think how pleased Mum will be when she sees it. Okay, said Peter. Henry giggled and sneaked off. This time he'd get Mum himself. Do you think Mum will be pleased? Mum, Peter's doing something terrible, said Horrid Henry. He's drawing on the walls. Mum ran upstairs. I didn't do it. My hand did, said Peter. It was Henry's idea. No, it wasn't. Don't be horrid, Henry, shouted Mum. But I didn't do anything, said Henry. You are the eldest. You should have stopped him, said Mum. Go to your room. The next day, Mum took Henry and Peter to the park. Henry felt very sad. He couldn't get rid of Peter, and he couldn't get Peter into trouble. Maybe he could push Peter into a puddle when Mum wasn't looking. Suddenly, a huge dog ran up to Peter. Grrr, snarled the dog. Help! Squeaked Peter. Henry didn't stop to think. Go away, dog, he howled in his most horrid voice. Peter started screaming. Mum ran up. Don't be horrid, Henry, she shouted. Look, there's Henry growling at the dog to scare it away. Henry's not horrid, said Peter. He saved me. Oh, my hero, said Mum. Henry allowed his mum to hug and kiss him. He supposed he was happy to be a hero for a day, but tomorrow, watch out. So, in the end, Henry wasn't that hard after all. Sure he wasn't. I hope you're kinder to your little brothers or sisters if you've got them. See you tomorrow.